DJ, let's talk data. What do you think about technologies, electronics, and readiness?
I've used a couple different data collecting devices, had a lot of positives, a lot of negatives. For me, it's all how the data is interpreted. For me, green, yellow, red, if I'm in the red for 30 days back to back, I'm not taking 30 days off. I can't just blindly go with the data. If I know I feel good, I gotta push. But a lot of times it gets forced down your neck. The Oura Ring, the exact same thing. It's like every day I wake up, I'm studying the data, I'm looking at it, and I'm preloading my mind to know that I'm not at 100% because I'm reading off a chart. It tells me right now I shouldn't be working out, but my body tells me I want to. My mind, my heart tells me I gotta go to the gym. This makes me feel better. But this thing tells me not to. What do I do?
There was two eye-opening moments for me. I want you to get your opinion on both. The first one, when I was originally tracking like heart rate variability and trying to figure out if there was some sort of connection with guys with training, I couldn't find any connection between high performers, low performers, anything. But the only trend I noticed, and the only trend I noticed that contradicted everything I thought, was guys were more stressed on Monday than they were on Friday. And I remember looking at that going, that doesn't make any sense. And then I started asking guys, why are you more, like, what's wrong? Like, what feels different? He was like, well, been home all weekend. I ate like shit. I watched football. You know, my old lady had me doing this. I was stressed running around. And then throughout the week, they got into their flow state almost. Like, they get in their routine with work. They work out. And then near the end of the week, they're like, man, I feel great. And then the weekend starts, and it just, boom. And it's just like, how much have I been not considering regarding training that I've never took into consideration this human rather than, oh, I'm training this professional. No. I'm training a human that while they're walking in the door is responding to their email from a teacher because they didn't turn in an assignment. Oh, your wife, like, hey, you need to be here at 8 a.m. Take the kids. I'm already running late to a workout. And it's like this human is having to just compartmentalize all this stress and pay attention to me. And it's like I didn't really consider how special that was or how big that was in the moment.
You think about like big days, big push days, because a lot of if you do a really big push day on Monday, Tuesday you're doing the exact same thing. So more often than not, you save a little bit in the tank. Same thing on Wednesday, Thursday. By the time you get to Friday, like, I know I'm going to have a forced recovery. I'm not going to do anything physically Saturday and Sunday. Like, I can go all out on Friday. People look forward to it. Vice, I'm trying to do a feathered approach on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. 'Cause I'm trying to save some in the tank. For me, that's always what it's been like. We typically don't slam ourselves on Friday. It's like a feel-good movement. Like, hey,
Yep.
we've been sucking up this whole week. But if you look at it, really Friday is the day where you can really push because now I know I have 2 days off. Like, I can go hard on Friday. Like, everybody's usually in a good mood. Like, we got the weekend we're looking forward to. We got to go. But just like you said, it's navigating human terrain. Everybody's got it going on. I don't care if you're J.J. Watt, whatever else you want to be. Like, they have normal stuff they have to deal with. They got dogs that, took a piss in the middle of the kitchen floor right before they were walking out. Now they're 10 minutes late. Like, now they're stuck behind that school bus they weren't planning on being. Now they walk in. Now the squat rack they were getting in, now it's taken. Now they're bumbling around for 10 minutes. Like, now they're looking at their watch. Like, I didn't have time to do this. Now the stress just builds. Like, I got to get something in. Like, it sucks, man. But I mean, if you don't look at them, and that's what I always hated about a lot of stuff in the military. I felt like people looked at you like a magnet on a whiteboard. That magnet on a whiteboard has 2 arms, 2 legs, got a head, got a family attached to them. They got cars, they got mortgage, they have all this other stress that has nothing to do with this one thing. If you don't add that as a sum of all parts, you're missing 90% of who that person actually is.
Yeah.
Like, how good they are at compartmentalization, to me, directly correlates to how they are in the gym, how they are in the field, how they are in the training room. Like, it's a sum of all parts, man. And I think you said it. You're dealing with people. They're not magnets on a whiteboard. That is not a superhuman athlete. That's a normal dude. That's Bill.
And I think, even working with you, like, you see dudes that do amazing things, have amazing stories, and you realize that this guy is just as stressed about the small shit as I am. Like he may do some amazing heroic things, but he's still agitated about running behind. He's still agitated about their kids not doing their homework, getting in an argument with their mom. Like, he's still trying to get his kid to go to bed at 9 p.m. Like, the same stuff that I'm doing. So it was like totally like a shot in the face. And the second one was the concept of periodization in programming. And me and you have spoke about this quite a bit, is as a coach, if you're training an athlete, it's like, I'm going to peak them towards the season or towards camp or whatever it is. Where with working with the military, people's like, oh, I'm gonna do the same thing. You're getting ready for a deployment, and it's like, it's almost like a backwards approach. Like you, and I realize this conversations with you and other guys, you have more time and bandwidth to train while you're actually gone doing the job than when you're here. Because that, I could be misspoken, but that block before you deploy, that's when you're the busiest.
Yeah.
So it's almost like that's the busiest you are throughout the year. Plus, you're probably trying to scramble moments with your family. You don't have the most time for the gym. But once you get there, it's like, I don't want to be mean, but your family's not there, obviously. Yep. The work is only at specific times, maybe at nighttime. You have the entire day. You can plan your day, you can train appropriately, and that was mind-blowing, because at no point in college, at no point did any mentor I have ever had said the most time they have to train is while they're supposedly the most stressed.
Right.
And as a coach, it's like, how the hell do I program that? But it's like talking to that person, but it's like, and then you've said in the past, like, that's the most calm I've ever felt. Like in those moments of doing things, like, because it's just a flow state and you just flow and you're not stressed. And that thought is so interesting.
Yeah, man. And when you don't have the wife there, you don't have the kids there, the hot water heater doesn't bother you, the minivan needs a state inspection, none of that matters to you. You don't have to think about any of that. That's what you said. You just have nothing but bandwidth. Mm-hmm. And now I can train. I know exactly how much time until we typically go out or whatever we're going to do. We'll say we leave at midnight. Well, if I wake up at 3 p.m., I can get my fitness in. I've got a huge block. I can actually do some focus recovery. I can get on the foam roller. We don't have cryo and contrast baths. We don't have all that, but I can do a contrast shower.
I mean, you got time.
Yeah, but I've got my protein. I've got focus blocks. I can sit down like, what are you going to do for the next 3 hours? Nothing. I'm going to take a nap. I'm going to recover. So you see guys, and that's, one of the quintessential things, like, well, you've been on steroids on deployment? Like, no, but you see these guys make these crazy growth changes, like physically. Like, well, how'd you do that? And all I do is sleep, eat, and lift.
Yeah.
And like, well, how many hours you sleeping? Like, do I, guys? We call them the mantras. Part man, part mattress. Like, brother, you're sleeping 13 hours a day. When you see him come back, like, dude, you've gained 20 pounds of sheer muscle. Like, I didn't change anything. The only thing you're doing now is actually recovering. There's no more stress right now because your actual job, you love it. You seek it out. There's no more administrative stress on you right now. All you have to do is the job, make sure you're physically there. But that goes into having a really good training plan stateside. You can adopt to your current reality when you get overseas. Mm-hmm. If you don't know how to do that, a lot of guys, they push way too hard. I've definitely been one of those guys, especially when I first got to Afghanistan, lifting super heavy legs. I've never been deployed at 9,000 feet. I don't know what that feels like. You find out really, really fast. Like, my legs are shot. We're going out tonight. Cool. Take one step off, and you're like, oh no. Oh no. Like, I've already got a thigh pump. Oh no, here we go. And it just gets worse and worse. And slow but surely you start to train smarter, not harder. The focus recovery, and you start to save some in the tank. For the parts of my body that I know aren't going to be just crushed throughout this entire night, I save those moments. So that might be, hey, we're not going heavy legs on this deployment. Like, we're going to do a lot of mobility, a lot of flexibility, a lot of, explosive movements, and then a lot of just long durations. That's the incline treadmill walk, just building up your tolerance, building up your stamina for stuff you're actually going to use. But we can't blow it out. If I pull a hamstring right now, like, it's over.
Yeah.
So a lot of like when we train for essentially the NFL Combine. We do the shuttle drills and the cone drills and all of that. Does that have any application overseas? No, not really, but if you have that baseline, you can always apply it later. But guys aren't doing that overseas because you don't want to risk rolling an ankle. You won't see too many guys doing crazy Olympic lifts either. I mean, like right now I got a pulled trap. Like, you pull a trap, you tweak a neck, it's not getting better. You don't have the support backside. I think a lot of people lose sight of that. There's not a phys tech or some physical therapist that's going to be able to snap their fingers and make you right.
No, not
You've got to train super, super smart right now because every night is essentially going to be your Super Bowl. You never know when that call's coming. Yeah, I mean, that's why the trust has been so big over the last 5 years. And I think it's because we haven't missed any sessions together. Like, now I know. And the same thing when you come in. Like, I can tell you're in a mood.
Yeah, I wear it.
Yeah, it's like, okay, not going to be all chit-chatty today. We're probably going to get this workout a little bit quicker, so now we're not going to be in that conversation pace, but it's cool. Still help you and push when I can, and but give you that room to kind of soak in it. Like, if he wants to talk, he'll talk. I'm going to spot him when he needs to spot, and I'll let him get through it.
As a coach, it's so refreshing when people wear their emotions, though, because that means you've created a space that they can be vulnerable to show how they feel and not be scared like, oh, Vernon's not going to fucking stop. He's going to be like, dude, what's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? But if you can hear him, like, I know what's up, man. You know, if you need something, you know, we can walk later. That's cool. But it's like when someone shows that emotion, it's like, okay, this is good. This is a good environment because they are comfortable enough to share that vulnerability that I'm not going to take away their workout. I'm not going to be like, oh, workout's off today. Let's just do mobility stuff. DJ's stressed. We would never work out.
That's one of the things I didn't like about, what was that heart rate monitor thing we used to do?
Omega Wave?
The Omega Wave?
Yep.
I'll just be honest. I'll just say it for those who have never put that thing on. You put on this heart rate monitor, it gives you a reading. Green, you're ready to go. Yellow, probably take it easy. Red, takes a day off. I was in a red for months on end. I never hit a yellow or a green. And they're like, well, just don't lift. Well, that's not going to happen.
There's a rumor that they were going to start using that in the military with taking guys off of missions if they were red. And I instantly contacted my person and I said, if Steph Curry was red game 7 of the finals, would he play? And they were like, well, I mean, we can't take him out of the game. And I was like, that's my point. Just because some data says something, that does not mean this guy's coming out. Like, if you want to make sure that he should do additional recovery now, okay, I get that. Like, hey, you need to recover a little bit longer. Maybe we lower our volume a little bit, but like, he's still going to go do that job.
And, you know, people throw this out like, well, you got to take 5 days off. Do that. Still in the red. You're red every day, all 5 days.
We stopped doing it because of that, man. It's annoying.
Well, that, and then it's so different. I used to have the Oura ring.
Yeah.
I got so addicted, and it's not a shot on those guys. If anybody has an Oura ring, use them. For me, I became obsessed with the data. I'd look at them like, I didn't even touch REM sleep last night. Like, I got 3.5 hours of sleep, and then I'd wear it. I'd wake up in the morning, I'm like, God damn it. And then I'd feel myself getting more tired. The moment I'd pull the thing off, I'm like, I don't have any data to support it. Now it's just me. Like, I feel fine. I'm pushing. Next day, I feel fine. I'm pushing. If I put that ring back on, it's like, oh, you only got 9 minutes of REM sleep last night. Probably should take the day off. Like, yeah, I'm done with you. I took it off and I never put it back on.
I remember that.
Yeah, like I don't want anything telling me what I should be doing. I want to base it off of me.
Data should be an indicator for trends, not control your programming. And the best example I can give, similar to an Oura ring, is I had a guy that I was working with, military guy. He was an alcoholic and drank a lot, like heavily. And I got him to wear an Oura ring. And it was specifically to notice trends with his sleep and his stress around his life. And we started to notice, and I didn't let him download it on his app so he could see it. I had it. So I noticed when he was, when his HRV was low, high, how accurate that is. That's not what I'm trying to get into. But we noticed based off of him popping up, like, man, you had a really bad sleep last night. What'd you get into yesterday? And he was like, oh, Sunday football, just, drank a lot, ate a lot. And I was like, okay. A couple days later, dang, man, no sleep. How'd you do last night? He's like, drank a lot, blah, blah, blah. And then it was like 2 weeks later, I was like, hey, you noticed that when you drink a lot, your sleep really sucks and you feel really stressed, and you always tell me you get in an argument with your wife and whatnot around that time? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, just word for caution. And I'll never forget that first weekend he didn't drink alcohol when he watched football, and I kind of get goosebumps thinking about it. And he, to my knowledge, hasn't drank since. And his wife texted me like a month later and was like, hey, just so you know, that ring saved his life. He has not drank alcohol since then. To me, that is what that data is. If it can help uncover a lifestyle that you're living, or you're chronically not getting enough sleep, or you're chronically not doing something, that's that specialty. But on a daily basis, you cannot let it control if you're not going to train for the day. That's completely unrealistic.
I think a lot of people wanted to adopt it for that.
That's exactly what they
just
wanted.
gives me a reason to recover, more focused recovery. Well, what do you do if it never goes green? You just really gonna trust it blindly? Like, I can't do that, man. I know myself better than that app does. If I'm honest with myself,
And
I'm
there's
honest with myself, my coach, we know better.
And there's something special about that. That subjective feeling of like when I ask you how are you feeling, that's a real in my opinion as a coach, that is a true marker for data and readiness. If I know you and I know you and I say, "Hey, how are we feeling?" Man, I feel good. Sick. I don't need to know anything else. If you're like, feel 100%, well, I know that's a lie. Well, I know that's true. So it's like that subjective feeling and asking how someone feels, that is so impactful.
I agree.